Good morning everyone. It is currently 10 a.m. on a Monday and I thought I'd answer a pretty popular question, which is, how do you read so much? This week, we're going to see how much I read. How many pages, how many books, all of that. I am curious actually because there's some weeks where I only read like one book and then there are others where I go through about 5. So this will be quite intriguing for me actually. Before we jump into this video, there are a few things that we need to note. The first is I do not have a full-time job, which is why I'm at home on a Monday morning. Obviously this gives me a lot of time to read. Another thing is I am a freelance book content creator. It is my little hobby on the side. I do it on TikTok, I do it on here, and because of that, reading is actually kind of a priority for me, and I genuinely just enjoy, I wouldn't even call it a side hustle, I just enjoy making content about books, so that is why you'll see me reading a lot. It's just genuinely been something I love to do ever since I was a child. I've got a couple of options ready here. The first thing I could read is, it's actually a reread and I've already started reading like 6% of it. It is Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. This is an amazingly hilarious little fanfiction. It's over 1,000 pages long, but it's a great fanfiction. It's very funny, very fluffy and light, and if you watched the video from 2 weeks ago, you know that I finished reading Rose in Chains by Julie Soto, which is a reworking of her much darker Dramini fanfiction, and that's kind of put me into the mood to read something light and fluffy and just fun. So I might continue that. Obviously, like I said, it's 1,000 pages long, so I have no idea how long that's going to take for me to read, but I do know it's something you can just fly through. Very well written, very funny, very light. But something I do want to get around to in this video is Blood Over Bright Haven by ML1. This is kind of embarrassing for me because I got the arc of this. This is an arc and I got it last year and I never read it. I think when I got this arc it was starting to warm up in Sydney, like the weather was getting nice and everything, and I just felt like fun romance books. And I have heard this is one of the most spellbinding, most incredible books, and what with the weather getting a little colder in Sydney, perhaps it's time. Very, very excited. I believe this is about witchcraft. Yeah, our main character wants to be the first woman ever admitted to the High Magistracy at the University of Magics and Industry. Oh, this book was made for me. As always, I have an Olympic TBR, so there's a bunch of books I can choose from, even if I finish those two. I will, of course, have many options to choose from. Around about a month ago, I was doing my Harry Potter reread. I could, of course, continue the Harry Potter series, or I can take some books off my physical TBR. The first is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. 2 weeks ago, we read Sunrise on the Reaping, but I'm embarrassed to admit I haven't actually read this book yet, even though I've watched the movie. Another one I could read is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. I got this on Valentine's Day. I went to an event at a bookstore and they gave away goodie bags, and this was in my goodie bag. I don't know too much about it, but I've heard Hannah Bonham Young's romances are just lovely. And the other thing I wanted to do was reread The Lies of Lachlan Mora by Scott Lynch. I have not read the other 2 books in the series, but this was actually a 5-star read for me. Unfortunately, I can't remember a single thing that happened in this story, so it might be time for me to do a little reread, and I highly, highly recommend, especially if you like something like Six of Crows, pick this book up. So that is our agenda for this video. I am leaning towards continuing the fanfic first, because one thing about me is I can't read 2 things at the same time. I can't multitask like that. And you know what? A cute, fluffy story sounds like exactly what I need right now. So we're gonna start with Draco Malfoy and the Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. I'm getting confused because the author of this fanfic is coming out with a book called The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, which comes out in July, which is heavily inspired, not reworked, but inspired by this fic. I'm currently on page 56 of 1051. I just made the random and spontaneous decision to post one of my TikToks onto my Instagram Reels. It's this one, which is on my TikTok as well, and I decided to put it on Instagram. This is terrifying. A lot of people ask me, how do I have the confidence to post on TikTok and YouTube? Like, am I not scared about what people will think? But the people who I grew up with, or the people who I went to school with, they are only on my Instagram. They don't know about TikTok and YouTube. So I never was worried posting content on here or TikTok, but the fact that I posted one of my reels on there, I'm like actually terrified. And it's all in my head. That's the worst part. None of this is real. It's all in my head. Anyway, I'm gonna try post more bookish things on Instagram. This is the sort of story that has you cracking up out loud. And even if you don't like Harry Potter, give it a try. Genuinely give it a try. It's so funny, so cute. I'm currently sitting outside my gym and I'm 34% of the way through. You guys, I was genuinely considering not coming, so the fact I'm here is to be applauded. And this is why everyone needs a gym buddy to keep them accountable. My gym buddy was like, you better come. So as much as I just wanted to stay home and keep reading, here I am, 34% of the way through this 1,000 page book, which means we've made decent progress today. Obviously, Monday doesn't end here. I am going to keep reading in bed. It's currently 8:42 p.m, which means to me that there are 2 hours left to read. I'm 40% of the way through. I got up to 40% while I was waiting for my class to begin. This is a sort of story that has me cackling out loud. I'm having the time of my life, and I cannot wait for the irresistible urge to fall for your enemy, because if it's written anything like this, it's going to be 5 stars. Happy Tuesday. I finished last night on page 673, which means I have under 400 pages left until I finish this book. I will almost certainly be finishing it today. I do have to go to work, but it's going to be a short and sweet session. You saw me reading this morning. I'm now on page 700. Sadly, I've got to go now. I am 75% of the way through and I will be reading on the train. I will be reading through any sort of break I get. We're absolutely finishing this tonight and it's so good. My heart is warm. Page 938 of 1051, 89% of the way through. It's 9 p.m, let's go. I'm finished, but we're gonna talk about it tomorrow. Now the question is, do I start a new book now or should I go to sleep? Maybe just one chapter, just one. Last night I finished Draco, Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. I haven't felt such satisfaction and happiness in a while. The writing is immaculate, the story is so good, the romance excellent, slow burn. Thank God the author, Brigitte Knightley, is writing a book. It was absolutely excellent, and even if you don't like Harry Potter, even if you don't care for Hermione, I really do recommend that you pick it up. It's a fantasy rom-com. I think that's the best way to explain it. And then last night I started Blood Over Bright Haven, and it's pretty interesting so far. Our main character has just been accepted into a position that no woman ever has. I got up to page 35 last night, and as of this morning I'm on page 56. It's good so far. I'm really excited to see what happens when we get to the university. There are a few errands I want to run. I need to go to the post office. I need to pick up something at Officeworks. We will be going out a tiny bit, but most of this day can just be devoted to this. Okay, I'm back from Officeworks. I just picked up this frame. You'll see what I'm about to do with it later. But I also just want to say, God bless Spotify for this, because the fact I can listen to my audiobook on my way home. My plan is to cut that out, pop it into this frame, and then I can have a cute little piece of artwork. I am completely obsessed with this. Are you serious? There are two places I can put this. The first is on my wall and pop it up there. Or I was also thinking this is the entrance to my bedroom. I could slap it on the wall here. I feel like this looks better. Happy Thursday. Last night I got up to page 307 in this book. It is amazing. I'll review it once I've finished it. Obviously I did some reading this morning before I turned on my camera. I'm now at page 328. We have far less than 100 pages to go. It is a bit of a slower read because the story, the world, everything is a lot more intricate, and so there's a lot more to like process. However, today I have plans in the evening, so we have until I want to say 4 p.m. to read. I finished the book, but did the book finish me? Amazing, 5 stars. I don't know why it took so long for me to read it. It dawned on me that I haven't really told you what this book is about. So we follow an intelligent young woman called Siona who wants to become the first female high mage of this magical society that is intensely patriarchal. But once she passes her exams, gets into the university and becomes a high mage, she is assigned a refugee janitor as a research assistant because of the inferiority of her sex. But together, Siona and Tommel, her research assistant, discover a devastating secret that lies under the foundations of their society. If any of you have read the short story The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas, this definitely reminded me of that. It was just exquisite in terms of the magical system, the detail of the story. It was all just so good. I am not the biggest fan of the ending, but I truly cannot see any other way it could have wrapped up without turning into a series. So it is what it is. I get it. I get why the author made that call, and I think it was done well. 5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but now I don't know what to read. It's 9 a.m. Just took a massive shower and now I'm tossing up between the next book that I want to read this week. I have my Kindle. I have 2 books on there: Beg, Borrow or Steal by Sarah Adams or Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. I've heard Beg, Borrow or Steal is like a cute, fluffy, small town rom-com. Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone apparently deals with a lot of grief, but it's still a romance book. It's still a really feel-good book, but there is grief in it. Because I'm still reeling from Blood Over Bright Haven, I might start with Beg, Borrow or Steal. One of my friends is currently reading this and she said it's really good. I'm only 13% in, but I'm actually quite liking it. It seems like a cute story. Page 55 at the moment. I was a little skeptical going into this because I read, I believe it was called The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams, and I thought it was quite bad. I also didn't like the rule book, so you know, I thought I was heading into a car crash. This does seem promising. Like I said, I'm only on chapter 4, so I've still got a way to go before I start judging this book, but so far it seems like it's going to be a decent read. I'm currently getting ready to go out, but can I be honest, I'm 51% of the way through this book and I'm not loving it. I don't think it's bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's sitting at around 3 stars in the sense that it's enjoyable enough, but there's nothing exceptional about it. It's not that the writing is bad. It's not that the story itself necessarily is bad. I think I'm just struggling to connect to the characters in this book. But I did actually go to the bookstore earlier today and I saw this book and I was sorely tempted to pick it up, but I actually have a rule where I don't buy a physical copy of a book unless A, it is an author I know and trust and I'm really looking forward to this book, or B, I'm 20% of the way through the book on my Kindle. And this way, I only have a bookshelf full of books that I like. I think it would be horrible to just have my bookshelves be full of books I hated. And that's why I only really purchase a book if I love it 20% of the way through the Kindle copy. And as for this one, I can say with almost complete certainty it's sitting at 3 stars. I'd say it's a pretty run-of-the-mill small town romance. Okay, it's time for me to go. I don't think I'll finish it tonight, and that's okay. But I reckon we'll get pretty close to the end, which also means I need to start thinking about what else I want to read. I've just come home and to everyone's surprise, especially mine, I actually did end up finishing the book. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It was fine. Nothing to write home about. I liked the pacing and I liked the writing. However, I don't care about the characters. I don't care about their romance really. This book is about 2 teachers who are rivals, and our main female character, she wants to be a writer and she's secretly working on that. You know what, it's just very generic. It's not something I necessarily think was particularly great or anything, and I think this will be the last Sarah Adams book that I read. I just feel when 3 books haven't worked out, a 4th one isn't going to work out either. It's unfortunate, but not every book can be my cup of tea, and that's okay. I'm thinking of reading Promise Me Sunshine next, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. I didn't even say good morning. Where are my manners? As you saw, we finished yesterday's book and now I'm reading Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. It's currently midday. I'm actually on 27%. This is another pretty short romance read as well, except it explores themes of grief. For our main character, her best friend, who was basically a sister to her, has passed away and she's trying to navigate that while being a nanny, and there is a grumpy uncle kind of thrown in the mix. I'm editing, but it occurred to me that I should specify that this uncle is the uncle of the child she's babysitting. This is her love interest. Okay. Yeah. And she has this checklist called the Live Again checklist that she wrote before her friend passed away. And she's trying to achieve everything on that bucket list. This grumpy uncle is going to help her with that list. So far, I'm enjoying it. But I did say this about yesterday's book and then I ended up not quite loving it. So we'll see. Only time will tell. But I'm thinking maybe I should go to the library and just do a bit of reading there. Back from the library and I'm 52% of the way through. This one's better than the last one. However, the problem with me reading romance palette cleansers after fantasy is that the fantasy books are often so intricate, so incredible, that when I come to the romance books, I'm kind of like, oh, it's a little lackluster. That's kind of what's happening with this book. I like it, but I also just wish there was more. But it's probably sitting at 3.5 right now, which is decent. I have less than 200 pages to go, so I'm just gonna sit down and finish it. I'm done. That second half went by very, very quickly, but I'm finished that book as well. 3.5 stars. If we start with the things that I liked how slow burn it was, how their relationship developed so emotionally first, and they were really sweet together. Genuinely, it was just a cute, fluffy read, and it made me feel very happy inside despite the heavier themes that were present in the story. As for what I didn't really love, it wasn't super unique or whatever, and there is this trend in romance books where the characters, specifically the female character, gets written kind of naively. How do I explain this? Like, internal thoughts that should not be said aloud, she will say aloud. I definitely saw that as a problem in this story, but maybe that's just me being nitpicky. Maybe it's just that that specific writing style doesn't work for me, but it was fine. I think 3.5, it generally means enjoyable. I was having a little bit of a think about what sort of book I'd want to read next, and I think I want to go back to fantasy. And do you remember at the start of this video when we read The Mortifying Ordeal? I really badly want a book like that, just something that's witty and funny but set in a magical world, a fantasy rom-com if you will. And I looked for recommendations on TikTok and there was this one book that kept on getting recommended, and what do you know? I literally have the arc of this as well, much like Blood Over Bright Haven. I was sent this arc by Penguin. I do recall reading the first few chapters of this. Unfortunately, I did not continue because I just wasn't in the mood for it. This is very typical for me. But now I think I should pick this back up. Many people compare the writing in this and the dynamic and the banter and the wit in this to The Mortifying Ordeal. This is about two rival ornithologists who are hunting one specific bird. Our female main character does not like the male professor. He's obsessed with her. He is smitten with her. This is my favorite sort of dynamic, and there is a competition in the midst and both of them are fighting to win that prize. However, they decide to team up to increase their chance of winning. So, you know what? Sounds amazing. I'm on page 4 of the Ornithologist Field Guide to Love, and I think I'm actually going to stop right here. I have no plans to read for the rest of this evening. There are other things I kind of want to do, so I'm going to put this aside and come back to it maybe later in the weekend. For this video, I'm going to end it here. I know this is kind of irregular, but I feel like I read less on the weekends than I do during the weekdays, and that's because I spend my weekends working or meeting up with people. I tend to not really read much on weekends. Maybe I'll get through a couple of pages of this on the weekend, but I genuinely don't have any plans to sit down and dedicate time to reading. I really did enjoy reading with you all this week. I went through 4 books. I went through thousands of pages and I can't really count them in my head, so here's how many pages. I found a new 5-star read and I had plenty of laughter, so much fun. This is not necessarily what a typical week looks like for me. It's just because I was dedicating time to make this video that I was consciously putting effort into reading as much as I could. But this is generally what a week where reading is my priority looks like. I hope you enjoyed. I certainly know I did, and I will see you next week.